Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and as luck would have it, as soon as I go to take Fry on a potty break, they decided to, at the crack of noon, put up the Gareth Pursehouse actual recording. So I guess I will anticipate that we will have to put it as tactlessly as possible, nooners for the rest of the week. So, I will go ahead and let people, because this was kind of a spur of the minute thing, trickle in. And I do have pet cam up, but Fry is, as you can sort of see, passed out. We threw the ball a little bit and played tug of war with the rope, but he is exhausted. Like I said, he seems to have his days and nights mixed up. We are all awake at 9 to 1, I swear to goodness. So, we are exhausted, and I'm trying to keep him awake during the day, but we are dragging this general afternoon time. But we do have a little bit, so we will try to get through as much as possible. It looks like, are you kidding me? It looks like we've been through all of this. They have only put up the part that we have already been through. Are you kidding me? For the love of all that is. Okay, so technically we should almost be caught up because this looks like we have been through most of what we have covered, and we should be almost live, if you will. So we will kind of go through what we have thus far. Yeah, it happens. It, look, this is what I don't get with the mommy bloggers and all that. First of all, when you have 6 children, Ruby, your life is what we call all the chaos. All the chaos and hot mess, and I don't know why you would even put it on the internets for all people to see. My life is a glamorous mix of laundry and dishes and taking Mr. Frybert out, which is awesome. Again, I chose this life. I love being a mom, but it goes with the territory. It just is what it is. So, but we will go ahead and
All right, this is page
let me make sure
12
you guys
of
can
the second
hear.
transcript number 2.
Oh, where did the closed captions
Um,
go?
so if you could please read from line 19 to 28 of page 12 of transcript.
Read it to yourself if you want to.
Yeah, read it to yourself, not aloud.
And good afternoon, Kim and Rain. And again, thank you all for your support and everything. Bri appreciates it too, even though he's napping.
I'm sorry, I wasn't done.
Did that refresh
finished.
your recollection?
We did have a cat sighting, but Fry
A bit.
And
ran
isn't it true
Loki
that during
off.
the interview with detectives, you expressed that that you had concerns about how her story would be told by the media?
What I just read, none of that was coming from me. I think my abbreviation is the letter S.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the key on the transcript?
Yes.
May I approach? Showing the cover page of the transcript, 2 of 2.
Oh, thank you.
So if you
Yeah, we kind of if you look at my morning stream, you won't probably have to watch it. We did watch a little bit of this morning because they were being all of the late. But yes, this woman has had just a scotch of work done, just a scotch of work done, possibly. Those are, yeah. It's the eyelashes for me, honestly. Jamie's look very natural, but hers look doll-like, and I keep those dolls. Look, I feel bad making fun of her because I know it's her friend and everything, but those dolls where you would tip them and the eyes would go shut so it looked like they were sleeping? That's what she reminds me of, which is not nice,
If you
but
could just look right there at the legend and then look up.
going straight to purgatory
Okay.
anyway, so
And do you want to look back at page 12 again?
Yes.
Okay. So if you could please reread lines.
I know, I really liked her with the dark hair.
19
I
to
think she
28.
looked very good
Okay,
with the dark
yes.
hair.
And have you reread them?
I
I wonder what she'd
understand,
look like
yes.
with a redhead.
So isn't it true?
I'm
that
here to
you
convert
expressed
everyone to
concern
redhairism.
to the detectives about how the media would tell her story?
I think she'd look like Jessica Rabbit, but
Yes.
And that you expressed a desire that you hoped it would be able to be controlled.
I hope that she's portrayed as
Ooh.
the woman that she is.
I
And
would
not a
take an
victim
Irish hot
who
coffee.
was naive. And, that's what I meant by that.
Okay. Objection as to narrative at this point.
You asked the question, sir.
Sorry, one moment.
Now that's hilarious. That makes me giggle.
Prior to your testimony today, did you speak with Mr. Avila or Ms. Mariano about your testimony today? Recent to today.
Catherine, is that your last name?
Yes.
Yes.
And did you speak about the facts of the case?
I went over my interview with the detectives via audio and transcript, and then also the preliminary trial transcript only.
My question was whether you spoke with Ms. Mariano about the facts of this case.
I asked her what Mr. Pursehouse could be facing.
And that was the only discussion about the facts of this case. Is that your testimony?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, nothing further.
One moment. No redirect or anything.
Right, now you may step down, thank you. May call your number.
The people at this side call Mr. Patrick Turner.
What's the last name?
Turner.
Fine.
Okay, let me get a banner ready to go. So I have actual names instead of made up nicknames, which are not nice. Possibly. I'm going to try to be a little better this time. Just a little bit. I think if he just had a little bit of a beard, he'd look less. I don't know.
All right.
Sir, we have about just a couple of minutes for the witness to get into the courtroom.
Yes. How long is it gonna be? I just don't want the jury sitting there.
We ran to the restroom for a moment.
Oh, yeah. Okay. She's coming, all right.
You guys, again, I must find the Thinking Lincoln picture. Again, like I said, not a fan of Lincoln, but swear to goodness, this has to be the funnest, especially when the judge mirrors the pose, but in opposite. It's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen, and I don't know why it tickles me pink, but it just does. I need
What
help.
page is he on your list?
I'm sorry, sir?
What page is he on your list? Is he on it?
Yeah, true.
He's not on the list?
This is a late edition.
I need to Photoshop him with the hat of shame for my next thumbnail. I just need to figure out how to do that, but I will do that tonight. possibly when I'm not sleeping.
Okay. Is it Officer Turner, or how do you refer to yourself?
Just Patrick Turner.
Okay, Mr. Turner, if you would.
That's hilarious.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Patrick Turner, PatrickTurner.
Thank you, Your Honor. What do you do for a living?
I am an engineer with the LA City Fire Department.
It's as high
What
as
is
it
an
can
engineer?
go. Let me see if I can
I
turn me
drive the
down
fire
so you
engine.
can
To and from incidents,
him up.
mitigate fire and emergency responses, medical responses.
Do you have any other training?
I am also trained as a EMT and as a paramedic.
Now, what were you assigned to,
I've turned me down
as,
so you can turn,
or what was your occupation
technically-
specifically back on February 15th
but I'm
of
on
2020?
I was also an
Chrome
engineer
right
at Fire
now.
Station 82.
Now, on February
I
15th at
thought I had the
around
extension
1:40 in the morning, were you at the location of 2086 Mound Street in the city and county of Los Angeles?
Yes.
Why were you at that location on that date and time?
We were called out as an engine company, and we responded to that incident. I don't remember the name of the type of call it was, but we were dispatched.
And was that at around 1:32 in the morning?
Yes,
Do you recall what time you actually arrived?
I believe we arrived within 5 to 10 minutes.
Do you recall if there was any sort of delay in getting to that location?
I do remember that it was a unique street. I don't believe I'd ever driven down that street before. It was on the west side of our district, so it was fairly far away, as it's we encompass the Hollywood Hills for our district. So I do remember it was on the west side, and it was
Okay, guys, I know it's California and it's a different culture. Look, I know Midwestern culture. I am not a California culture expert, but can we take, for the love of all that is holy, can we take down the plexiglass? Because this glare is gonna set my ADHD off like nobody's business. Can we take the glare off? Because dear Lord, now he looks like he's part of Tron.
down a street that I hadn't really even been on before.
Was it a narrow street?
It was a narrow street, and it was like up a hill as well.
So I know you said as an engineer you drive a fire truck. Was it hard to navigate up to that residence?
Yes, that's the same.
Now, would you say that the location of where you, or 2086 Mound Street, caused any sort of delay in arriving to the location?
Definitely an objection.
Maybe it may have hindered us by a couple of minutes, perhaps, because I believe I had to park the apparatus a little bit further away than I normally would have, and then we had to walk up to the house.
Who else were you with during that time?
I was with a captain and 2 firefighters along, inside the engine with me, and then there was LAPD on scene.
Were any of the other fire department personnel an EMT?
They are all EMTs.
Were any of them paramedics?
No.
Now, can you describe what you observed once you arrived on scene?
Once we arrived on scene, I remember walking up to the house, just thinking it seemed like a unique looking house. It was large. It was dark. It was late at night, early in the morning. LAPD's there walking us through. And it took us a while to get from the front, and they were escorting us to the backyard.
I
Where they
know.
were explaining a little bit what we were walking into.
And when you say they were explaining, are you talking about law enforcement explaining?
Yeah, just LAPD was, they were the ones that greeted us, and they took us basically to where the victim was laying in the backyard.
When you say they were explaining something to you, is that something that customarily happens when you report to a scene?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can answer.
Yeah, we arrived on scene. It's typical if whoever's calling us out, whether it's just a public person or if in this case it was LAPD, we kind of just give us a little rundown of what we're expecting. We have if it's a patient or if they have a person in custody, they'll just let us know, okay, this is kind of what happened. This is what we're seeing, and we're going to lead you to where we need you to do your assessment.
You said that you were led to the backyard. What did you observe once you actually got into the backyard?
We walked through down these stairs, I believe, to the backyard. And when we went outside, we were shown where the victim was laying. And then there we saw her laying on the ground.
When you say you saw the victim, what was her state at the time you observed her in the backyard?
Just upon seeing her from a distance, I initially thought she was a dead victim. The LAPD had told us that it was a fall from the balcony about 2 to 3 stories in height. So I remember looking up, seeing the balcony, that it was quite high and that she had fallen from the balcony onto the concrete, and looking and appearing lifeless at the time upon my immediate just assessment, just from seeing her.
Did you take a closer look at her once beyond just your initial glance?
Yes, of course. We proceeded to, we walked through, we all entered the backyard. We had our equipment with us, and then we went to go ahead and assess the status of the patient lying on the ground.
Now, I know you said that you're an engineer by occupation. Why is it that you were hands-on with the victim, seeing that your primary duty is to drive the fire truck?
Exactly. Well, that's just one of my duties. If there is any instance where there is critical patient care that's involved, I'm always going to jump in and also lend a hand. And in this circumstance, this is definitely a critical patient. So I felt the need to assist as much as I could.
Your Honor, at this time, the people have a DVD of body-worn video made at the mark as People's 54.
All right.
Accompanying.
Guys, I will be watching this very closely. If they do show anything terribly graphic, I will be taking it off. We can still hear, but we won't see. Obviously, you guys can go back and watch if you want to. But, law and crime can get away with things that I can't for some reason until they hire me, the mouthy redhead. I cannot get away with these things. Also, I don't want to traumatize any one of you lovely people on my channel, whereas law and crime can get away with it again. So
Accompanying transcript made at the
we will.
mark as 54B.
Yes, what's the duration?
About 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, Your Honor. 20 to 30.
Transcript was what?
She said page 58.
Is there 54?
I'm sorry, should I reverse it?
It says DVD and transcript. So mark the
You guys, look, it's a crime case, true crime. Obviously, they're going to be coming along. Dr. Amy Harwick, after she's fallen or being pushed off allegedly a third-story balcony. So she's going to be in really rough shape. So it's not going to be a good look. So I will try to keep that off screen for you guys. Hopefully they will, law and crime will do their job. I'm sure it was probably talked about in limine or in a court order, uh, and they are not supposed to be showing that on a live stream. But given that law and crime and court TV seem to have been showing juries here of late, I will try to be your first line of defense And when I'm the voice of reason is when everyone needs to be scared.
The transcript back. Right.
Permission to distribute the transcript?
What I will have is we will go to full Friberto mode if they do tend to go.
You have a copy of the recording?
Yes, Fry shall protect us. Fry is like, you woke me up from a nap. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with Gareth the douche either. He's like, this douche? No. He has yet to make eye contact with anyone that I've noticed during this trial. I don't know if that's been a conscious effort by his lawyers to tell him not to antagonize witnesses, or if he just in general doesn't make eye contact generally. Or if he realizes this is maybe not a case that he's going to win. Which all these things can be true at the same time. What in the violet Beauregard is this color? You're turning into a violet, Violet. Okay, let's see if we can. Apparently they're as good at tech as we are. And by we, I mean me. I myself. I would hope so. I would really hope so, but I have been. Some people don't seem to have shame. I don't know if they were just not raised as a Catholic. I'm a recovering Catholic. My mom hates that joke. But what can you do? He's like, look, I will not be party to this ridiculousness. Okay, they might not be showing it, which would be good. But why do we have to watch douchebags? Can't we watch the lawyer, or not the lawyer, but the judge, who always has the great faces?
I'm stopping the video at 10 minutes and 53 seconds.
Oh,
Can
would you like
let
to
us
go
know
play
all
now?
of the LA Fire
Is you
Department
awake?
personnel that walked in?
Oh, not the
At that
face.
point?
Not the
Yes, so the person in the very front was the captain for our engine company, Captain Dave Grijalva. I believe I was the second one to follow through. And then the two firefighters behind me were firefighter Majak and
back to
firefighter
nap.
Brinson.
Continuing.
Stop
the
using
recording
me
at
as a
10 minutes and
shameless
53
cuteness
seconds.
ploy.
I'm pausing the video at 11 minutes and 10 seconds. based on this, where I stopped the video, can you point out the personnel that you just named?
Yes, so the gentleman holding the flashlight, that's Captain Grijalva. He's also in charge of our radio comms, so he's the one talking on the radio right now to dispatch. This is firefighter Majak.
And on the bottom left corner, is that the victim as you observed her when you first walked in?
Right here, yes, this is the victim right here, how we observed her as we came in. I can't really see from this where I'm standing or where firefighter Brinson is.
Can you all see, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, you have a pointer there. Can you need a wooden pointer or something? Behind you.
Corner.
Below the screen, Megan.
Everyone's talking.
Right, right. The pointer.
Behind your seat?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're looking for a laser.
I was looking for a laser.
I am really glad that they are not showing this. I mean, for those of us watching, we don't need to see this. Like I said, with the Gannon Stalk trial, that was horrible footage. I know that the jury had to see that, and everyone in the courtroom has to see that. And I am going to try to see the Delphi case because I am close. Now, again, I know that is going to be a giant case, and I will. I what he has stated, or at least what his lawyer stated in his opening, is that he tried to use fitness to get over Amy and get over his crippling depression from their first breakup in the early 2000s, I guess, when they first broke up 8 years previously. So, yeah, he was quite fit early on. Yeah, the Lori Vallow was terrible. So I'm glad that they were actually doing their job this time and not showing it. Look, God bless the, EMTs and the ER doctors and all the trauma nurses and every single person that goes up to these scenes and takes care of these people in need, that does this day in and day out. I couldn't. So thank you so much to all those people that do it. I'm glad I just sit here and, uh, talk smack on the internet because I could not do what they do.
Resuming the video at 11 minutes and 10 seconds.
He said he heard her screaming.
I'm stopping the video at 11 minutes and 32 seconds. I think I stopped it a little late, but there was someone, fire department personnel standing over the body, touching it. Could you tell us what that person is doing?
That person is checking for a pulse.
Oh, page 12. Resuming the video at 11 minutes and 32 seconds.
Hey, so what we got right now is a female. It looks like she either fell, or was thrown from a third-story balcony. The roommate that's here says he heard her screaming. He thought she was probably being attacked. But instead of going to check on her, he went out to the street and was claiming. And I called police, and then he found her with the officers. There's some blood on his shirt, though. He says he didn't know, doesn't think anyone else was here. So it looks, she's breathing right now, but she looks pretty bad. Mound.
I'm pausing at 12 minutes and 26 seconds. In the figure to the left, it's a little harder on the TV screen. Crouched over the victim's body. Who is that?
I am crouched over the victim's body right now.
And what are you doing at that point?
I'm verifying that there actually is a pulse right now.
And was there a pulse at the time that you checked the victim?
There was a pulse.
Continuing the video at 12 minutes and 26 seconds.
Okay, we're gonna do it. Yeah, yeah, she doesn't look too great. The balcony is, it would be 2 full stories, 2.5. So like 20 feet, 25 feet. All right, ready.
I'm stopping the video at 12 minutes and 36 seconds. Faintly, we hear someone say, "Man, talk to me." What is it that you or one of the other law enforcement, fire department personnel is doing?
So right now I'm just trying to determine her level of consciousness. She was laying face down. We checked her pulse. I personally checked her pulse. She had a very, very weak and thready pulse. And very, very slow agonal respirations from my initial assessment. I'm now checking to see if I can wake her up, if she's going to respond to me either verbally, open her eyes, start talking to me. That's what I'm trying to determine right now. So by me saying, "Ma'am, can you hear me?" I'm trying to stimulate any of her senses to see if I can get any response from her.
You said that you checked for her pulse and that it was thready. Is that a bad indication?
Yes, that's very, very bad.
You talked about checking her respirations. Is that correct?
Correct.
And how was that?
So she wasn't breathing normally. She was having irregular gasps, not normal exchange of normal tidal volume of breathing in and out. And that, along with her weak and slow pulse, are just signs that she is a very, very critical patient.
Did she respond to you when you were speaking to her, saying, "Ma'am, talk to me"?
No.
Is that also a sign of her critical state at that time?
Correct.
Continuing the video at 13 minutes and 26 seconds.
Hey, what's the number, sir? What was that? 2086.
Pausing at 13 minutes and 53 seconds. You're crouched next to the victim, is that correct?
That is correct.
What are you doing at this point?
So right now we have moved the patient from a prone position. She was lying on her stomach. We've turned her over, and we are now just going to start establishing some patient care. So right now we are with a fall for this height, and for a patient to be unconscious, we have to assume massive head injury. The potential for various broken bones, we have to consider all these things. So we have carefully turned her over with protection of her her head and neck and mind, and we are.
Yeah, so I'm really I don't think so what they are probably not showing is how incredibly difficult and very methodical and careful they have to be to turn someone with these kind of injuries, being mindful of the spine and just how I'm sure the medical experts' testimony is going to be horrific. So I will probably uh, I'm not sure when that's going to come up, but I'm sure it's going to be terrifying. Just her injuries are just going to be catastrophic.
And we are going to just start conducting our full assessment of her, along with the treatment, including securing her neck with a C-collar, removing her clothes, and checking for further injuries and providing first aid and vital signs, everything that we can do for her prior to the ambulance arriving.
Why did you have to flip her from her back? I'm sorry, from prone position to being upright?
Because a natural position to assess a patient is not while they're laying on the ground with their face down and their stomach down. We have to put her in a position to open her airway if her airway was potentially closed, put her head and neck in an upright position so we can give her every chance to move air cleanly. And that requires her to be on her back, not on her stomach.
What do you do once she's on her back?
So once we turn her over and she's on her back, we keep in mind, we try to keep her head in line with the rest of her body. We raise her chin slightly so she has a good patent airway. And then we can just start conducting a rapid physical assessment from head to toe, and then initiate any care that we deem needed.
How do you do a rapid physical assessment?
So initially, for any trauma patient, we try to just do a brief, quick head to toe, looking at what the biggest things are. The biggest, by meaning like the most critical things that we can do. For someone who's unconscious, who has fallen from a 2-3 story balcony, and in this particular case, she wasn't breathing adequately. She's not perfusing adequately, meaning her heart rate is very, very low. So we know that she's critical. She's not pushing enough blood through her organs. She's not breathing enough. She's not oxygenating her brain enough. So we're quickly going through, and we need to try to fix that as much as we can. And then while we're doing that, we need to also assess for other damage that we can report to the paramedic ambulance when they arrive on scene, such as broken bones, other injuries that we notice. We just don't want to miss anything.
Proceeding the video at 13:53.
Hello, Cindy Lou. Hello, Anonymous. Hello, everyone.
I'm stopping at 15:07. There's an individual directly in the middle of the screen messing with what looks to be a device. What is he doing?
Oh,
Correct.
hey,
That is
Flux.
the captain
How you
right now,
doing?
and he's opening up a oxygen cylinder, and he is
Thank you for watching.
turning the regulator on. That's the noise that you hear, that he's turning it, making sure that there's oxygen that's going to flow out of that. And he is, out of the bag, he is obtaining an adult bag valve mask, which is a device that is used when
Yep.
connected to the
I will be
oxygen
live for
cylinder.
another hour, and then I
Will
have to go
allow
pick up the
oxygen
kiddos.
flow, continuous
And then
oxygen
Sal
flow
and
into a
you
setting
will
of our
be
choice.
picking up after
And
I
also
am
comes with a
gone.
tube that we can
And
squeeze and
welcome,
actually
HT.
breathe for the patient. It inflates their lungs.
And if I didn't
at
catch
any
anyone,
given
I am
rate that
sorry I
we
didn't say hi to you.
decide to depress it.
At this time, did you make a determination that the victim needed assistance breathing?
100%. She was not breathing adequately on her own.
Resuming the video at 15 minutes and 7 seconds.
If they go around the side of the house here too, it's a straight shot.
And I will say, at least in her
At 16, 17.
final moments, she had professional, caring people that were around her. So maybe her roommates and the cops weren't great, but these EMTs seemed to really, they jumped in and they really cared and they really started doing whatever they could to care and take care of this woman because I, like I said, when we get to the medical examiner and they start going through her wounds, they are going to be catastrophic. A 3-story balcony drop onto concrete, it's going to be catastrophic, but these EMTs sound like they are doing just working their hearts out and trying to do everything they can, so at least she had that going. I mean, I don't know how with it she was, I don't know if she was conscious, but thank goodness she had these people working their hearts out to try to save her or at least give her some sort of human comfort in these last minutes.
You do a motion with both of your hands along the victim's entire body. What is it that you're doing?
So what we've done here is with any trauma victim, we remove their clothes. So I think she did have a nightgown or something on. So that I've cut off and removed, and I've also taken off her boots. I think she had some higher boots on as well. But for any trauma victim, it's important that we get eyes on their entire body, head to toe, with the exception of underwear, bras, that sort of thing, just so we can make sure that we don't miss anything. We want to make sure that we catch any injury that they may have sustained. So by me palpating her body, I'm just running through and I'm just assessing for broken bones, any like lacerations, punctures, any other sort of wounds that she may have received. And I'm just trying to do that very, very quickly so I can assess how bad she may be injured.
And did that sort of pat down of the victim's body reveal any sort of injuries?
Yes, it did.
And what sort of injuries were you able to glean from doing that?
So initially, you can even see that there was a pool of blood, which was coming from her nose and mouth area. That was pretty obvious just from seeing that. But once we removed the clothes and had her turned around, after assessing it, I did notice that she did have extensive deformity to her pelvic region, so her hips, waistline, all the way up to her neck. She had some disfigurement to her neck and collarbone area, and she had extreme softness and tenderness to her ribs and stomach region. Ribs meaning like it was being soft around that area. Just
Look, he wouldn't know a slip dress if it was, the early aughts and he was dating someone from the early aughts. He didn't know what a slip dress was. It's okay. And, good afternoon, Alexandra and MNHS. Yeah, this th these injuries are gonna be just awful, and this man can go look, Gareth, you can go straight to Hades with this whole she done. So, Jonathan, the basic, TLDR here is that, our ridiculous defendant claims that his met his ex-girlfriend after not seeing her for 8 years at an awards show, 2 weeks prior to her, um, uh, what is it? Oh, her death. He was had all the sads. He had unfinished business with their relationship. He decides, kind of spur of the moment, since she blocked his number, wouldn't talk to him because he was a total douche nozzle, and she had prior protective orders against him and simply didn't want to talk to him because he's a douche. Decided to break into her house to force her to talk to him, as one does. When she said that she wouldn't talk to him, uh, what his defense claims is that they got into a scuffle, there was some light strangling, and that she parkoured her way off the balcony and fell down herself, so her God and gravity offed herself. What I allege happened and what most normal people think happened is that this man went there to unalive this woman because she refused to talk to him. He also went there with a full syringe of 100% nicotine, which, doing a little bit, like very little, so and trust Doctor Google. Uh, People have claimed that 100% nicotine can be used to fight chronic pain, uh, but it can also be lethal at the amounts that he was using. But, and thank you, Alexandra. I I am trying. The curly girl thing may kill me, but I am definitely going to try it because it is healthier for my hair than trying to blow dry it, with a little doodaddy every day. So, I'm trying to keep my hair long. Well, she shows so the medical examiner hasn't gone on, but, the state in its opening states that the facts will show that, she has um, injuries on her neck that are consistent with strangulation, and then also, she did also fall from the balcony. So, you know, but the defense is also claiming that God and gravity did it. So
Just
I
indicative of
am,
possible broken ribs. And coming from a fall onto the pavement, right, that would be in line with what to be expected from a fall like that.
After cutting off the victim's clothes and doing that assessment, did you
yeah.
truly believe that she was in a critical state?
100%.
Continuing the video at 16 minutes and 17 seconds.
Thank you, Flux. And we need to get together for that cross stitch thing. I finally got the uh Fry is asleep, but I got the mobile camera figured out. Believe me, believe okay, Jonathan, even in California, this man is not gonna walk. I mean, poss okay, I say that, juries are wild things, but I hope he will not walk. Thank you all for my hair compliments. I appreciate it. I I'm trying this curly girl. It's taking a minute for me to get used to it. There there is all of the process and science involved in this curliness that I had no idea. So God bless you naturally curly girls who have done it for all your life, because holy God. plopping and scrunching and sprunching and plopping and let me put it in. Y'all think I'm. Yes, I will do that. Let me put it in my handy dandy. Mo can't remember anything pad of what in the hell am I doing today, but that should be just fine. You are in the book, Flux. Yes, ma'am. Just if you remind me the day before. But yes, I would love to. And let me put it in my phone too, because I am, like I said, I used to could remember things. Not today, though, or ever before. Thank you, Flux. I'd put it in my phone and in my handy dandy book of Where Am I? The only thing that might stop me is if I have my spinal trial, but my spinal tap, if you will.
Yeah, that third story. We're not even put the mothers to see if they heard or see anything. No, just they saw one once, but everyone's gets through someone. You should ride through this. Yeah, I'll get one after you. Hey.
It's not really a spinal tap, y'all. I just joke with it.
Case of any kind of sales.
Having had 6 kids, I've had 6 epidurals. So
Well,
I'm
yeah, you guys
okay
can
with
go
that.
see yours, I'm sure.
It's the partial anesthesia I don't like. Lack of control.
I'm stopping the video at 20 minutes and 37 seconds. There's some chatter about going to Cedars Hospital. Is that where the victim is headed to?
Yes, based on the criteria of this injury, it's important that this victim goes to a trauma center. The only 2 trauma centers in this area would be County USC and Cedars. And based on the location of the residence, she would be qualifying to go to Cedars.
And at this point, what are you waiting for?
So right now we're just waiting for the ambulance to arrive.
And why did an ambulance need to arrive?
Because she's extremely critical. She didn't. We weren't dispatched with the paramedic ambulance to begin with. So we're pretty much just waiting for them to get there. We've taken over her breathing for her, and we're just kind of setting everything up so when the paramedics arrive, we can just load her on the gurney immediately, and then they can get going to the hospital.
Proceeding the video at 20 minutes and 37 seconds.
Would you like skirt cream? You know what? We're gonna baconate that. God bless closed captioning, because sometimes in the worst parts of trial, you get skirt cream. It was closed captioning, not me. I am not in trouble.
I think it was like a skirt.
I didn't do it.
So you could just implement testing. And yeah, if they go on the side of the house here, if there's no stairs or anything, it's easier for those. It's more like a ramp. It's not. So we go upstairs and check.
Oh. Well, look, sometimes we're mature adults and then sometimes we're 12-year-olds. And it's part of our special, unique charm. Look, we're having to listen to this woman's last moments while this douchey McGrease hair man just, I don't know what, he's not even pretending to take notes. He's just dead staring at the table. Same. Mr. Mo can't take me to Lowe's anymore. Mostly because I start giggling as soon as he says caulk or the pipe. And I'm like, look, it gets me out of Lowe's. I'm just saying. Oh, thanks, Baker. I didn't know if you were doing the Carla Rentala. These names. When I'm Empress, every criminal name will be Smith. That's why I actually, when I wasn't streaming, I would have everyone off, or I would have my earbuds in because you guys have no idea the amount of laundry I go through in a day. So I would always have Nick or you guys on in the background.
Who's just
Uh,
arrived into the residence?
The Rescue 82, the ambulance has just arrived.
Oh, I'm sure it's all the shenanigans. Look, the world, we have two of me. Sal and me are twins. We were we are separated at birth and a government experiment. I'm continuously telling everyone. True. I am working on it. I want the full Manchu. Just so I will tell you guys, and I was very upset to learn at 5 years old because I don't know why, but for some reason, Yosemite Sam was my favorite cartoon character. I was an odd child. I am an odd adult. It follows. But I always wanted to be a, dastardly evil person, and I wanted to be able to twirl my, mustache like this as I, tied the school marm to the railroad tracks. I I'm not sure why. Look, I always wanted to have look, whomever had the really, um, kind of twirly mustache, handlebar mustache, and I wanted to be able to twirl my mustache evilly, uh, when I did the best, evil because twirling your hair, you don't get that sort of evil thing, but I definitely wanted, an evil mustache, and I'm very upset that I don't have one. I just get that one lovely little, you know, pointy hair that you have to pluck out all the time. I'm telling you, we're part of an evil experiment to put socially awkward people out there and take over the
So I'm gonna give
world.
you a
I'm not sure
26
how we're going to
in
do
2
it, but we
seconds.
are.
We hear, I believe it is you that says she has a blood pressure of like 60. Is that you?
I don't know why
Correct, that
you
was
would ever
me.
trust me.
And what does that indicate to you?
So I'm basically just giving them a rundown of our findings right now. And, a blood pressure of 60 is just not sustainable for life. I've let them know that upon my assessment, I said that she's really soft all around here, meaning that she had softness to all of her entire thoracic region where it shouldn't be soft. It should be rigid with bones. She was soft. And along with, with breathing for her and the pulse and blood pressure, just relaying all the information we found to them.
And what are you and the 2 paramedics doing at this point?
So now what we're doing is we're securing her to a backboard so we can move her. We don't want to just lift someone up off the ground just with all of us putting our hands on them because we don't know the full extent to all of her injuries. So for maneuverability, we place that red backboard underneath her so we could all lift her, and then we're going to place her on the gurney, and then we will secure her to the gurney.
And I think that's why so when people have this disconnect, like, why aren't they rushing her everywhere? They really couldn't rush her anywhere. They had to, they couldn't just pick her up and take her. They had to be so mindful of the spine. I mean, basically every protective sort of structural integrity part of her body was pulverized, if you will. So they had to have a backboard, they had to have a neck brace. They had to be so careful with just how they moved her. So it- while it's understandable for people to think, okay, well, why aren't they rushing her if she's so critical? I mean, she was basically liquefied. It, I know it's not eloquent to say, but yeah, she was tenderized, Jonathan. It's horrifying to think about, but basically, yeah, any sort of structural integrity, sort of things that hold you together, like I said, when it gets to the medical examiner, I think it's gonna be pretty rough.
Resuming the video at 26 seconds. 26 minutes and 2 seconds.
Now, there will be no newsy news tomorrow. I have date night with Mr. Mo. So I will be out.
Yeah, probably. Quite possibly. Very weak, almost non-existent holes. Quite possibly. Yeah. Okay, they're gonna take her to Cedars. I got an officer riding with her just in case she does come to and have anything to say. We got probably fell from this balcony, but we got a loaded heroin rig up there. Roommate thinks there was someone here with her.
Now, Mr. Turner, at the end of that video, we see her being rolled away on a gurney outside of the backyard. What two paramedics was she accompanied by?
She was accompanied by
I know.
paramedic Dane Lindstrom and paramedic Austin Smith.
From the moment you arrived at the residence to the moment that paramedics took her out of the residence on a gurney, did her critical state change at any time?
No, it did not change.
Was there any sort of improvement, in your opinion, based upon your treatment or assessment of her from the moment you first observed the victim to the time that she was taken away on a gurney?
No, she was fighting for her life.
Thank you, nothing further.
Let's see who they pick. Do they pick Doogie Howser or do they pick Helen Lovejoy? It is Violet Beauregard. Come on down. Awesome. Yeah, I'm going
Good
with my
afternoon, Fireman
non-natural
Turner.
natural color.
Good
again.
afternoon.
Thank you very much for your service.
So thank you,
Um,
Mrs. Flex.
When you treated Amy Harwick, the person depicted in the videos, did you ever find that she lost pulse, a palpable pulse?
No, I don't believe she had lost her pulse completely.
If she had lost her pulse, would you have had to administer CPR?
Correct.
And you did not administer CPR.
That is correct.
Now, your unit was the first to arrive. That was an engine vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And you said on direct examination that an ambulance was not dispatched along with your engine. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you know why that was?
I have no idea. I believe I don't know what was said to whoever called 911 or what went down with the dispatch. So I don't know why one was not with us initially.
Based on your assessment of Amy Harwick when you observed her, was it your opinion she needed a rescue ambulance immediately?
She did.
Now, you were the person who was responsible for removing her out.
I don't know what the defense is really going to question this guy about. Like, why didn't they ask for an ambulance? Well, that's above my pay grade, and I don't know. It seems pretty dumb to me, though. Yeah, I agree. It's pretty dumb. Any questions? No, not really. Okay.
Her outer clothing?
I removed her outer clothing.
Yes. So you cut off whatever that pink garment was that she was wearing,
I did.
and also
Called a
some
slip
boots.
dress.
Correct.
And do you recall those boots? They were knee-high boots.
Yes.
And that was in order for you to be able to observe her body in a way that permitted you to do a full assessment of her condition.
Yes.
And did you also remove any jewelry from her?
I don't believe I removed any jewelry.
Okay. And you did not apply the C-collar yourself?
I don't remember if I actually put the C collar on her neck. I don't know if it was me that actually did it or if it was one of the firefighters.
Okay. And do you recall anybody removing any jewelry from around her neck before applying the C-collar?
No, I don't remember anything about the jewelry.
Oh, for the love of all that, I will lose. Don't make me get the whiteboard of truth out. Are you?
When she was, so you didn't actually transport her to Cedars.
Me personally, no.
So your involvement with her care ended at the point where the rescue ambulance arrived and carted her to the rescue ambulance for transport to Cedars?
That is correct.
It appears in watching this video that there is a very deliberate and kind of methodical approach to how each of the paramedics and EMTs that responded approached Amy Harwick and began their assessment. Would you agree with that?
Would you repeat that again?
Well, I don't see a sense of urgency in the way everybody's approaching her. So I'm asking if that like a deliberate, intentional approach to take it very slow and assess her before moving her in order.
Okay. All right. We're gonna need the whiteboard of truth. 'Cause I've got to explain things for Helen Lovejoy in the back here. Now, again, I'm not a medicalologist here, so you're just going to have to take my word for it a little bit. I know only enough to be dangerous, which, okay. This is a human body. We're going to pretend that these are the ribs. This is your spine. These are the hip bones, and your pelvis. Look, you're imagining these things. These are obviously terrible drawings. All right. This is methodical, ma'am, because what had happened was this was all crapitated. So they can't just willy-nilly, firemen carry her out like Saving Private Goddang Ryan. Were you paying the hell attention when he done said the last thing? Or were you listening to circus music in your head? He just got done telling it's not a peen drawing, but this is a Warshat test. But basically, all of her ribs were liquefied. Her spine was probably completely out of alignment. Her neck was probably broken. They can't just move her. You can't just go, onto a stretcher into the ambulance. And y'all know I can't draw. Baker's the one that should be drawing this. But you can't just take her and haul her ass into the ambulance. Like you take recycling or a bag to Goodwill. You can't just throw her in there. It's for the and no, the crucifix was not still on there because there was a little bit of semi strangulation going on. stop trying to make fetch a thing. This is not going to happen.
order not to cause further
Feel like
injury, and because it appeared she
I don't
needed to
want
be
to be the voice of
evaluated
reason here,
more
but for the love of
seriously,
God.
rather than immediately just dive in and start administering aid.
I mean, we arrive and we still have to we have to gain our bearings on what's happening right now. So it may appear to look like it's a long time for you, but right now there's a bunch of things going through our heads. You know, we have to assess, you know, we have to piece together this puzzle and figure out kind of what happened and then initiate care. She looked unresponsive and dead just by looking at her from the doorway. As we step closer, it's dark outside. As we step closer, we see, okay, wait, there are some forms of life. She is like faintly breathing. And then we can't just move her over. We have to carefully move her. We have to set up the oxygen tank. We have to open up bags of equipment and we have to connect them to the
Well, you
oxygen
know.
and prep them. We have to take care of our own body substance isolation. So there's just a number of steps that need to happen before we can just sort of dive in and just start running around.
Okay. And so part of that was PPE you were talking about, personal protective equipment also is necessary when you're approaching a person who's in distress and in need of medical care.
Yeah.
So all of these things were part of your deliberative effort to assess her and determine what care she was in need of at that time.
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Just briefly, do you think you were moving with a lack of urgency at this situation?
No, I don't think we moved with a lack of urgency. In fact, it was very urgent, but there's also just a limited amount that we can do.
And hats.
Do you
Top
believe
hat
that you were
and a monocle.
acting appropriately as the situation called for? In other words, treating the victim who was in a critical state at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. Once we determined that she had a pulse and that she did have agonal respirations, we got the oxygen and started breathing for her.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything based on those?
No.
All right, thank you. You mentioned that, though.
Thank you.
All right.
And guys, I am going to stop it here. That way Sal has a stopping point between witnesses because it is fairly close to the time where I will have to start heading out to get the boys from their new private school, which is going super duper well. Awesome sauce. And again, a big thank you for you guys for sticking with me through those weeks of chaos. We're actually in the 4th week of school, almost a month in. So thank you guys for dealing with all the stress and chaos of me getting the boys into a new school. But we are on a schedule. They are loving the new school and having all the fun, which is great. So thank you for joining me for another stream today, and join Sal and EU. If any mods could put their link to their stuff in the chat, that would be wonderful. Please hit the like and subscribe, share with your friends, and I will be back with you guys at 7 p.m. for the nightly Newsy News show. About an hour, we just go through. I find news stories that I think are funny. And so what is kind of funny, and look, I'm not to toot my own horn, but the stories that I pick are some of the ones that like Tim Pool and uh, other people that I think are pretty cool are picking up too. So I'm like, hey, I'm picking up the same stories. I'm doing the right thing. I'm picking up stories that are cool. So, I mean, they're not picking up the possum story, which, I mean, honestly, possibly the only honest person in Washington, D.C., and the only person I'll be voting for this year, Basil the One-Eyed Possum, for president. You know, with Vice President Howdy Doody, the car-riding bull. But I am enjoying bringing you guys the newsy news that you never knew you needed, and you really don't, really. But I will see you guys later tonight. I might try to join EU and Sal, but afternoon and evening times are a bit chaotic for me because I generally do pickups, and lunches and dinners and laundry and homework and all of those things. So I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow. And I will try to plan accordingly. If they are going to start showing these at noon, I will have a live morning with Mo, and we will have a live stream for that. So, and then I might jump on with Baker and Jamie for a little bit with the Carla Rentala case that they're covering. So I will see you guys wherever I happen to be tomorrow. I hope you've had a great day, and I will see you later. Bye, guys.